Alors, je vous invite tous à
I suggest that you all put on your headsets,
et je vais vous présenter
and I
cette
will introduce
absolument merveilleuse table
this
et après j'aurai à vous
wonderful
présenter
cast,
beaucoup de talents
and then
aussi
I'll
ici au premier rang.
introduce some
Alors
very
d'abord, je voudrais
talented
vous
people at the
présenter
front row.
le producteur
First
pour
of
The
all,
Apartment,
the
Chief Flamand des compagnies,
producer,
Lorenzo Miela.
Lorenzo Mieli,
La directrice de cette merveilleuse
The
photographie du film,
director
Daria D'Antonio.
of photography, Daria D'Antonio,
Bon, je vous avoue que je suis très intimidée
I
parce
must
que
admit
je
I
vais
feel very
prononcer ce mot magique.
intimidated because I'm
Gary
going
Oldman,
to say this wonderful name, Gary Oldman,
la grande et unique, la
the
magnifique
great,
Stefania
unique,
Sandrelli,
magnificent Stefania Sandrelli,
la grande sirène du Festival de Cannes,
great,
Céleste Della Porta,
the young Parthenope, Celeste Della Porta,
et enfin
and finally,
Paolo
Paolo
Sorrentino.
Sorrentino.
Et maintenant,
And
le
now,
premier rang,
the
parce que
front
c'est un
row,
film, un grand
because
film
this
avec
is a very
plein de
great
talents à
film with
l'intérieur.
a
Donc
lot
je
of
voudrais que vous
talents,
applaudissiez aussi
and we
Andreas
would like you to
Rossati,
applaud
qui est la
Andreas
CEO de
Rossati,
Fremantle, le studio qui a
who's the
produit
CEO of Fremantle, which produced the film.
Lisa Ranieri,
Lisa Ranieri, the actress in the film.
et Pelonzetta,
Nutella Zonzetta,
Isabella Ferrari,
Isabella Ferrari,
Dario Aita et Daniele Rienzo. Alors maintenant, on va commencer.
And now
Vous allez poser vos
we'll
questions. Je vais
start
juste
with the
lancer,
questions. I'll just get the ball rolling
cette conférence de presse.
at this press conference.
Écoutez, juste tout bêtement,
A very
Paolo
simple
Sorrentino.
question. Paolo Sorrentino.
Qui est Parthenope?
Who is Parthenope?
Parthenope
is in the first part of the film when she's young. She coincides with the city. There are two mysteries, and in the second part of the film, it becomes its most critical gaze when she becomes disenchanted and disillusioned. She's a free woman, very spontaneous. She does not judge, as the city doesn't. She's the mirror of the city where I grew up.
Donc on pourrait dire que Parthenope c'est aussi Napoli, c'est Naples en
So
fait.
we could say that
C'est cette espèce de
Parthenope is
mariage
Naples.
entre
It's
la
a sort
beauté
of a
d'une femme et la
marriage
beauté d'une
between the
ville.
beauty of a woman and the beauty of a city.
Sì, Napoli è una città che
Indeed.
sì, c'è una
Naples,
coincidenza
there is a
fra
coincidence, in
il
fact,
personaggio e la città.
between the
D'altronde il
character and
personaggio ha il
the
nome della
city.
città.
The character
Parthenope è
is named
l'antico
after
nome
the
della città
city.
di Napoli.
Parthenope is the ancient name of Naples.
Est-ce que vous voulez commencer à poser? Oui. Allez, on y
We'll
va.
take questions.
Levez-vous. Ah oui, j'ai oublié de vous
Please
dire.
stand up.
Ok,
Levez-vous quand vous posez les
Please
questions.
stand up. when you ask a
Buongiorno.
question.
sono Corrado Monina di Cinematograph.
My name is
Innanzitutto
Corrado Monina
complimenti a
from
tutti per
Cinematograph.
questo bellissimo
Congratulations to you all for this
film.
beautiful
Volevo fare una
film.
domanda a Paolo Sorrentino.
My question is for
In questo
Paolo
film è
Sorrentino.
particolarmente importante il
This
rapporto tra la
film,
protagonista
in
e
this
Napoli,
film, the
che è
relationship between the
contraddittorio e
protagonist and
controverso.
the city is very
Volevo
important.
chiederle
It's full of
innanzitutto se è stata anche-
contradiction.
che occasione è stata per
What
lei di
kind of
approfondire
opportunity was
ulteriormente anche il
it
suo
to
rapporto con
further
Napoli?
your
E poi,
relationship
essendo io
with
originario
your
di
own
Salerno,
city? And
mi
since
chiedo con
I
maggiore
come from
curiosità
Salerno,
ancora,
I'm
cosa
even more
spinge un
curious to
artista, una
know
persona
what
particolarmente
prompts an
sensibile,
artist, someone
come
with a
è
great
successo
deal
anche
of
per la protagonista, no?
sensitivity,
Vivere magari,
as is the case
perché c'è
of
nata
the
la
protagonist,
giovinezza in un posto
to
come
live the
bellissimo come
youth in a
Napoli e poi
beautiful
magari
place
sentire il
like
bisogno
Naples
di
and then
distaccarsene,
feel the need to
nonostante
get
la
distant
bellezza
from it,
amariante, nonostante
despite
quanto
the
possa essere
mesmerizing
l'ispirazione.
beauty
Ecco, questa
and
controversia
the
che
source of
si vede anche nel
inspiration.
rapporto
That's
tra
a
il sacro e
big
il profano, quindi il film
contradiction,
anche molto
as is
importante. Grazie.
present in the relationship between the sacred and the profane. Naples, an important writer, explained that La Capra is a city where there's a feeling of permanent vacation. It's a beautiful place for a certain stage of life. But then it might become less determinant and less important when you grow up. Many Neapolitan people, and I am amongst those, constantly go back to it and escape from it. My interest for my own city came late. When I lived in it when I was young, I did not attach too much importance to the fact that I was growing up in an extraordinary city. I learned that when I went back making my films as a grown-up.
Hi, thank you very much for your wonderful movie. Paolo, you seduced us again with your beauty. My question is to Celeste, actually. The character of Gary Oldman said to your character that he doesn't want to take any minute from your youth. Do you feel like this movie immortalized your youth and beauty?
Sì, penso che in realtà
Yes, I do think that that sentence coincides with a specific moment of my life that I have experienced during the shoot. Before making the film, I was still very carefree, and the idea of working was a dream, and becoming an actress was a very abstract ambition. Whilst during the journey that I made in making this film, it was as if I had to get rid of a sort of younger side of me, the carefree one, and enter the world of grown-ups and focus on what I want to do in life.
Might I just react at this point, because it was a very nice question. You have this wonderful sentence by the writer, "I won't steal a second of your time." It's very beautiful on the part of a great actor, an experienced actor. You are sort of a mentor, but you're disillusioned with the character of Parthenope. How did you portray this relationship that is pureness and experience?
Yes.
Well, it's interesting because Celeste, it's her first role. It's her first sort of major role, and as she just said, there's a sort of a purity and an innocence that I think Cheever sees in her that he can't. That there's no possibility of him reclaiming, and the dynamic, in part, and that dynamic also plays in our relationship as actors, because I guess you would say, of 50 years of doing it, that I'm a veteran with experience and age, and Celeste is a young actress whose life will change after this film, and there is an innocence and a purity that will be lost forever, just by the fact that she is in this film and here exposed to all of you people. And so that, in a way, you use what you can when you act, when you play. And I think that relationship and that dynamic between us as people, as actors, supported and nourished the poetic in the singing. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes.
Bonjour, Shimon Soufir, Movie and Love. Une question pour Gary Oldman.
Question for Gary Oldman. In an interview, you said you were a bit disappointed by the saga of Harry Potter and the part you play. Do you often see again films in which you play, and what do you look for when you see your films again?
I don't see them. Let me explain because I do not want to, it's not to disparage anyone out there who are fans of Harry Potter in the films and the character who I think is much beloved. What I meant by that was I think we're all, as any artist or any actor, painter, you are always hypercritical, I think, of your own work. If you're not and you're satisfied with what you're doing, then I think that would be death to me. You know, if I had watched a performance of myself and thought, my God, I'm fantastic in this, that would be a sad day, because my best work is next year. You know, so what I meant by the Harry Potter remark was that there was such secrecy that was shrouded around the novels that they were under lock and key. And had I known from the very beginning, if I had read the 5 books and I had seen the arc of the character, I may have approached it differently. I may have looked at it differently and I may have painted in a different color. So when I started Harry Potter, all I had was the book, The Prisoner of Azkaban, and that one representation of that man, one book in the library of Sirius Black. And that's kind of what I meant by it. It's not me looking at the movie and saying it's a terrible film, or I'm terrible. I just wish it had been under different circumstances. But that's what I meant. Not to be rude to any of the people out there who like that film.
Hello, it's Yannis Rauzeos from Greece. It was an astonishing film, Mr. Sorrentino, a fantastic film, one of the best in this year's Cannes Film Festival, I would say. So I would like to address a question to you and to Ms. D'Antonio, first of all, about the close-ups and the great photography, the way you approach the face, the face of your protagonist, of Ms. Dalia Porta, in such an impressionistic way. And also, I would like to know, Mr. Gary Oldman, if your connection as a character with the character of Celeste Dalia Porta somehow reflects a certain type of existentialism, because she is somehow a stranger inside her town, and you are a stranger as well, but in the same time, you're so connected with your life towards death and towards a great experience of youth and life itself. Thank you so much.
Want to start?
Io dico solo adesso facciamo il primo piano.
I just say, let's make a close-up. Then it's Daria who does that. I can say that there are 3 words, 3 ideas that accompanied me during the making of the film: beauty, mystery, and freedom. Beauty was easy. It was very helpful for us to have Celeste with us. The freedom is a constant exchange that I have been having, I had with Paolo since many years, and the possibility to explore freedom roots and mysterious roots in order to forget what we know, in order to be able to enter new narrations, new journeys. So freedom, mystery, and beauty.
Une jolie trinité.
I've forgotten the question, actually. What was it?
Existentialisme.
Existentialism.
I think, to be very honest, that's for you to read in and how you interpret the film. I can't think of it like that. I have to think of it as a sort of a person in a relationship. Yeah, I'm a stranger there. You could say that she's a stranger in herself, searching for something. How I see it, and this is purely subjective and on a personal level, and this might not even be what Paolo conceived. She has an aspiration to be a writer. There's two instances in the movie. She first meets Shiva on this journey. But for me, the film is an anthropology. It's in itself that we go along life on the road and we take little B roads and we're sidetracked and we go over here and we meet someone and that could completely turn our life around, or it could be a bad experience. We are in love, then we're out of love, and then we're back on the road again, and then we're on the journey, and then something else comes along. And she has a sort of an aspiration and an ambition to be an actress, to be a writer at first. And maybe, although she looks beneath the alcoholism and the chaos, which is clearly his life, she can see beyond that. She can see a beauty, which I think is there in all the movies of Paolo's. These beautiful, miraculous people who are flawed, but there's a soul behind the flaw. And I think that it's almost as a warning to Parthenope. Along the journey, she meets this man who she discovers is John Cheever, who she admires. But look at him. And it's like, without saying, do you want to end up like this? You're going to be a rider? It's a solitary, lonely existence. You elect loneliness. By wanting to be a writer, it's a weird thing. You gotta, or a painter or a sculptor. You shut yourself away in a room, and that's what you do, to the exclusion of everything else. To family, it's a selfish thing to be an artist. It really is, and those around you sometimes they suffer, and just. To not ramble, but to conclude, she then has an ambition to be an actress, and again meets someone who is deeply flawed and in chaos, and then, well, maybe that isn't an option, So existentialism, I'm not sure, but that's my little narrative anyway. Sorry to ramble on.
Avant de vous donner la parole, je voudrais rebondir justement avec vous, parce que ce qui est beau, c'est que vous dites, le personnage de Parthenope, attention,
the character of
finis pas comme moi.
Parthenope, you're basically saying, don't end up like I.
Elle devient Stefania Sandrelli, ce qui en soi est quand même pas mal. Et donc, c'est intéressant, vous êtes celle qui regardez votre personnage, qui regardez cette vie passée. Est-ce que justement votre personnage,
this heroine,
le bon voyage?
did she make the right trip?
Paolo Sorrentino,
Did she choose the right way? And Paolo Sorrentino, did you have a happy trip with this person? I apologize for my voice. I don't have to sing, luckily. I would like to be able to give my viewpoint. I'm a special actress in the sense that I began in '61 with Marcello Mastroianni. I was 15 years old at the time. Fortunately, my brother was 7 years older than I, and he adored the cinema, and he showed me 2 films a day. So I knew everything about the cinema, I knew everything about editing and all sorts of things. And that was very fortunate for me. He taught me so much, which helped me no end in my subsequent career. I was thus able to understand everything. I was able to understand, and that would have not been the case had I not had all this long experience. Thank you. I love the cinema.
Monsieur.
Question here from Brazil, Rodrigo Fonseca, Correio da Manhã. Question to Mr. Sorrentino. Could you tell us a few words about the amazing soundtrack of the film?
La colonna sonora del film,
the film soundtrack is source music of a trumpeter from Australia, whose name is Nadir Urduis, something like that, mainly. And then there are Riccardo Cocciante and Gino Paoli, a song. Italian singer-songwriter. I've been wanting to use the music from these Australian musicians, and I found the right film to use it.
Mi sembra una bella risposta, devo dire.
I think it's a beautiful answer, the one I just gave.
Hi, I'm a psychologist and I do cinematherapy. And I really like your movie because it asks the question about do we really need relationships in our life? And when I was watching the movie, I thought about the character of The Perfect Days, Wim Wenders, the open to the beauty of the life and no need of closeness. But I think that this movie shows rather that this woman is quite in trauma. I mean, she didn't open for her first love, maybe. And I'm just curious, because it depends on the viewer, but what do you think, Paolo Sorrentino? Not think, but feel about this character, about this woman, and about relationships in our life. Do we need them?
Cosa penso rispetto a questo personaggio?
What I think about the character.
Molte cose. Intanto
I feel a lot of things. I feel very close to her for some aspects, for the possibility of seeing, that turn her into an anthropologist. That has to do with my work as well.
Sento una grande affinità in generale, insomma.
I feel close to her, and I feel we share things. As for relations and what you just mentioned, I think that trauma is life. You know, it's a synonym of life. She hasn't suffered a specific trauma beyond the aspect of the death of the brother, but life is full of traumas, and the fault is life, if I want to sum it up to the extreme.
Est-ce que je peux rajouter quelque chose à cette question?
Something to this question.
En fait, est-ce que s'il y a traumatisme, c'est
If
qu'en
there
fait,
is a
elle est
trauma,
d'une certaine manière,
it's
votre héroïne,
because she's
elle est
your
née sur le
heroine.
Enfin, c'est-à-dire qu'elle est née, dès qu'elle est née, on l'a considérée comme une
As of
princesse,
her
comme un
birth,
miracle.
she was
Est-ce
viewed
que
as a
c'est ça
princess,
la
a
malédiction?
miracle. Is that
Est-ce que
the
la
curse?
malédiction, c'est d'être trop bien
Is
née,
the curse
ou est-ce que la
to have
malédiction, c'est d'être
too
trop
good a
belle?
background, or is the curse to be too beautiful? What's this curse all about? It's a film on curse and beauty.
No, faccio fatica a seguirla. Non è un film sulla
No,
maledizione
I don't
della
think it's a film on the maledictions of beauty. It's a woman that is born in a perfect condition in order to be free. She is born into a free city, in a city that is featured by the lack of judgment. It's not judgmental at all. And she has all the favorable conditions in order to carry on her fight for freedom, which dates back a long time, but we haven't stopped fighting for freedom nowadays. There is a coincidence. There are similarities between the fight for freedom back then and today.
Hello there. My name is Dariusz Tabatabai from Netzwerk.de Germany. And first of all, thanks for the movie. I think it's the visually most stunning one of the competition. And my question is for Paolo Sorrentino and Daria D'Antonio. And it's about the visual depiction of Parthenope, because I think it's very amazingly beautiful. But sometimes in service of the story, it tends to be objectifying. And I would like to know, how did you approach it to avoid falling trap of the male gaze? Thank you.
I avoided by working with Daria D'Antonio, who will answer to this question. The gaze, I do not believe that there is a male gaze or a female gaze. It's, you know, a sort of simplification. There's a gaze of one human being onto another human being, and it depends on what you have experienced, on your own curiosity, and what happened between us, and what I tried to explain before, between Paolo and me. There was never a judgment. It was a constant search. It's not a film with a thesis, and what I really appreciated in the film is that through a female character, it tried to explore what he cannot know, but without giving an answer. And maybe it's still a mystery. I do not feel, as a woman, and not only as a cinematographer, that my gaze is female. It's my gaze, it's Paolo's gaze, and gaze is somehow gender-free. It's based on experience and sensitivity. And when I was talking about beauty, I talked about Celeste, but about all the characters that she meets, all women, the beauty of a human being.
Hi, Robert from the Netherlands here. Hi, Mr. Colt, Mr. Altman, I've got a question for you. This film is about age and time passing by and getting older. It's also a theme of your marvelous series Slow Horses, and one of the themes Jackson Lamb is facing. Would you like to reflect your own opinion and your own feelings about aging as a person and as an actor? Thank you very much.
Oh, no. You know, if there are any similarities, I guess, And there are a few between me and Mr. Cheever. Well, to connect it directly to the movie, in a sense, we're always, I have a stepson down there who's 16, and I'm sure he longs to be 18 and 21, you know. You're always wishing when you're young, in that sense. You actually wish away your youth to be older. And there's a saying, isn't there, that we have 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the future, and not to be crude, but we piss on today. We're not in the moment, and we're not in. And I think the film for me, with the younger people in the cast, that's a theme or an element in the movie. Age, well, there's nothing we can do about it, is there? That's for sure. But I'm the happiest I've been. I think I'm more comfortable now in my own skin than I was when I was younger. And I have a terrific family, who was supportive and creative, and there was chaos and drama and a lot of pain in my life when I was younger. I mean, I've made it no secret that I used to drink, you know, and I've just celebrated 27 years of sobriety. And but that Cheever, you know, my wife actually found a quote where he says, "My shaking hand reaches for the phone to ring Alcoholics Anonymous, and instead it reaches, you know, the remains of the whiskey, the gin, the vermouth, and my shaking hand reaching for anything else that was sort of available." And I've been there. I know what that means. So there were, coming to this role, there were things that I instinctively understood. And when Paolo said to me, "I want you, you know, to be melancholy and sad. I want you to play this sort of sad, melancholic, drunken poet," I went, yeah, I kind of know what that is. But yeah, we're all getting old and wiser, hopefully.
Nous allons être obligés de terminer, mais je
Now
voudrais
we're going
juste
to have
qu'on
to
termine
finish, but
avec
I'd
une
just
question
like to
pour
wind
Céleste.
up on a question
Puisque
for
Paolo
Celeste.
Paolo
Sorrentino
a répété tellement joliment que, en fait,
has said so beautifully that you portray freedom.
C'est quoi la responsabilité quand même, comme ça,
It's quite a responsibility as a young actress when a filmmaker says you are going to embody women's freedom.
Ho cercato di seguire assolutamente
What I try to do is to rely on the character in her freedom, free spirit, absence of judgment, and looking beyond the superficial aspect of things and digging into the spirit of human beings. Parthenope has a very unique freedom. Each of us go on a journey in finding their own freedom. Her freedom taught me a lot, and I try to follow it, to let myself go to it. It was a beautiful journey, really beautiful.
Écoutez, je vous remercie. On
Thank
remercie
you
Paolo
very much.
Sorrentino.
I'd like to thank Paolo Sorrentino for this wonderful freedom.